but I'm from the east side. This how we slide. This how we ride. Yeah, this how we ride.
Woo! Okay. I really hope you guys have your pencil, your pens, your notepad, your iPad, whatever it is that you need to take notes for this live stream tonight. This live stream has been in the making for a while. I consider Diana Gladney a friend. She helped me through some issues with, I was trying to do this live stream thing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight as well. How are you guys doing tonight? I am Steve Worthy, host of Podcasters Live. Our focus is to help podcasters grow their authority and the community through understanding how to live stream. And one of the things that we do is we bring on not just podcasters, but we bring on experts within their field, and have them talk a little bit more about what they do. So that way you can kind of grow your community and also your authority. We're going to get right back into this conversation. Just a second. So Diana Gladney is our guest for this evening. Years ago, about 2 years ago, I'm going to say like back in the day because I'm old, right? But years ago, I was trying to understand this whole live streaming thing and also this content creation. I was moving into this whole new, kind of phase in my life. And I came across this young lady, Diana Gladney, and she had this perspective on content creation and also cameras that for me just kind of captivated me. There are not a lot of people that I will like stop what I'm doing and listen to. I've been doing leadership and all this other stuff for a long time. And so I can kind of cut through the nonsense rather quickly. But whenever she talks, I actually truly listen. And for her to kind of help me out with some of the things that I wanted to kind of go through when I was going through this process, she has been invaluable, not just to me, but I think to the live streaming community as well. So I'm going to introduce, without further ado, Miss Diana Gladney. How are you doing?
I am fantastic and full of coffee and rip roaring ready to go. So I'm pumped to be here. Thanks for inviting me to your show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I got to tell you, I remember when we first connected, I really appreciate you. I'm going to thank you again. You were on my podcast when it was called The Worthy Podcast, and we were doing this tell yourself something 20 years ago, and yours was amazing. Also, Cher Jones, who's in the audience, she was on there too. And I got to tell you, that just kind of set a tone for, I think, all the different things that I wanted to do. But just your section in and of itself was just golden. And so I just wanted to thank you for that kind of publicly. I think I thank you for that privately, but I just want to thank you for that publicly. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, because you do so much: keynote speaking, podcast, content creation, content strategist. You're helping people pick out cameras. All this stuff. But we're going to get into a little more about Diana Gladney and who you are, but just tell a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. As the keynote thing says, it says Diana Gladney is my name. I'm a native out of St. Louis, Missouri, youngest of 6, aunt to like 22, I think I'm up to, nieces and nephews, and a few more after that. So great aunt out here in these digital streets, the real ones too. And and yeah, so my thing is about helping entrepreneurs simplify the video creation process, because I found that so much of the content, especially like when I was first getting started, was either you were trying to be a filmmaker, a cinematographer, you getting into photography and all of that. And it's like, I don't care about none of that stuff. I just want to know how to use this camera to the extent to look good and look professional, and honestly be professional on the social platforms, and like how to show up and share my message. And so I do that because I believe everyone has a purpose, and that if we could all just get in our lanes, do your job, and execute on that, some of those things where people say, man, somebody should do something about that, that maybe that's you. But if you're not sharing your vision using video, which I believe is the best medium out there, it's a lot of great ones out there. I don't have no qualms with podcasting. I got one. I don't have no qualms with blogging. We got that too. All these other mediums of communication are great, but nothing transcends like video does. And so I believe if you just shared your message using video, you can become global with the free Gmail account. and a YouTube account and get to work.
That's right. And speaking of video, before we get to saying hi to everybody, I don't think everybody knows that Diana is also an actress. So she's also an actress, and I played a couple of clips for her, and I'm gonna play them for you right now. These clips are near and dear to my heart because I think this is like when I first kind of stumbled upon you, and I like these a lot. So just want to give you a little bit of Diana Gladney and her acting.
Say you're depressed. What's bothering you? I used to be the perfect vlogging stick. No competitors. I see. Everybody used to love me. Now it's switch patch, switch patch. Now I'm just irrelevant? No, not that. Just worse? No, none of those. Like, you're not helping. Touchy.
How did you? So where did that come from? We're gonna get into your story here in a second, but how did that kind of transpire?
I come from a family of comedians, like not professionally, but that is us at barbecues, gatherings, hell, even funerals. And so I grew up with like literally, I'm like, when I'm a little kid thinking like when I grow up, it's gonna be my turn to talk at the table and I'm gonna have everybody's attention and then everybody's gonna laugh. And then the first time it happened, it just was flat. And it's like, yeah, no. And then you start getting what we call here in St. Louis, get Joan Dome.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, so you getting Joan Dome, and it's like, this backfired. I got to get better. And so, but it was always like also a defense mechanism. I used to get teased as a kid, like growing up, get picked on and all that stuff. So comedy helped to take the attention off of it. Or I remember one time I took it away from a bully. It's trying to talk about what I was wearing that day. I said, how you going to talk about the clothes that I'm wearing? Hell, I know where I got them from. Matter of fact, I could do a better job talking about me than you could. And I did. And everybody's cracking up laughing. And so that was a thing. And so that grew into one, just like more of my personality. And then by the time I got to like high school, I joined our thespian society and started to do that and do plays and stuff like that. So just kind of pulling that back out. And then too, playing with so many of my nieces and nephews, like you have to do the voices and the characters and, all the stuff. So I was just like, I'm just going to do this for cameras.
And it translates extremely well. And because this next little clip was one that actually helped me because as I was trying to figure out cameras, I'd had no clue what a full frame camera was to, an APS-C camera at all. And I came across this one and it made me laugh, but it also made me start to think a little bit more about the purchase that I was going to make.
Come here. I don't think I'm supposed to look like this. You look cute. These are A6600 things, but you're full frame. Who cares? Oh, they're gonna notice. Shut up. It'll be fine. Think they didn't notice with me? Shut up.
Oh my gosh. I love that video. And what was your thought process, right? Because you said like, a lot of times these things just kind of come to you and and you want to kind of put it out there. Guys, we're gonna get to the content here in a second, but I just want to lay the foreground a little, let you guys know just a little bit more about her and her personality and what she kind of brings out. So talk a little bit about that video for a sec.
So it was something that I remember from a writing class in high school, and it was like one of the few black male teachers that I had, where he was very into writing, real different kind of a guy. Like he wasn't about trying to be authority and listen to me. Like he listened. Like we had like so many conversations, and it was a poem, but I think by like Gwendolyn Brooks. And a couple other ones that we were going through in that class, which basically taught on the idea of giving something that's inanimate, that doesn't, it's not real, it's not a living, breathing thing, and giving it life. And so talk about poems of starvation or abuse and all these really deep things, but described as if that was a character in the room. And so for whatever reason, when that camera got announced and we were, kind of having conversations in the creator community about that, I was like, I want to give life to the conversations that are happening and that's on top of everybody's mind, but also give them personalities, in that sense. So take the thing that is just these brands and these models and stuff like that and add it to basically the elephant in the room of what everybody was thinking anyway. And so give them personality. So that's kind of where that skit came from.
Yeah. But I think it for me, it actually kind of helped clarify a couple of things in a super humorous way. It was like, okay, well, hold it for a second. This is just the same camera in different, just in different clothing,
Hmm.
or is it something unique, something completely different? I think you were able to kind of help me and other people out with that, guys. If you want to see more of of her skits, I had to go in the archives for a couple of those. I had to go down deep a little bit for those, but she has some amazing content, of course, on her IG account as well. Hey, so I want to get into a couple of things here, and before we do that, we got to say hello to a couple of people who are actually here. Oh, the troublemakers here. I've been trying to block that dude for the longest.
YouTube keep letting them come back.
They keep letting him in, man, and rocking my learn and do gear. There you go, sir. There you
Hey,
go,
there you
sir.
go.
And Cher Jones is in the building. So this is a dig at me because she hates countdown timers, and she's a dig at me. Lock your screens, yes, sir. I already know. I did that. We had a little Q&A at the beginning, sir. Thank you. Check your levels. I had to check my levels. I did, sir. I appreciate that. And Cher says, "I'm so ready. I'm going old school with my pen and notepad in hand. Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. Yes, slay in your lane." And then and then Mr. Dr. Elo says, let's go, Miss D. Excellent. One of the things that you often talk about, and as a person myself who has just made that transition from corporate America, if you will, into full-time coaching and content creation, right? I love hearing your story about when you're at the bank and you would take and use your free time to look at videos, and you would be at your desk and you would actually just be kind of looking at videos and studying, and then it kind of came to that point in time where you just said, okay, this is what I wanted to do. Tell that story a little bit. I know you told it tons of times, but I don't think this audience here has heard it. And but I think it's constructive for a lot of us. It was for me. It
Mm.
actually helped me. I went back and listened to a lot of those, whether it was your podcast or a lot of your videos, as I was trying to think about making those moves. So please go ahead and talk about a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, so actually, I'll share with y'all something I haven't shared in some of
Mm,
those other interviews and stuff. Because
excellent.
people ask, but it's more like from a topical standpoint. What was happening in that season of life is that, like, I was a temp for the same bank. They had a relationship with a temp company, and you still had regular employees there. And it's like half and half, building almost bit 50/50 or 60/40, something like that. And so it was like a tremendous amount of temp employees. And that's how I got my foot in the door to start working at the company. Well, it turned out to be everybody was a temp at this company for a really long time, like 2 and 3 years and stuff. So after my second year, I got the offer to become full time. Okay, so after doing that and being full time for like a little over a year or something like that, I had just got hired on. And so immediately after getting hired on with the company, like within 2 weeks time frame, I had to have emergency surgery. Like 16 months prior to, I had started having this the most incredible pain I ever had before in my life, and it never stopped. It was a daily thing. Stretching to pick up a sock in the morning or something was not just picking up a sock. It was like, can that stay on the floor for a while longer? Do I really need it, or just go grab a whole other pair to wear because the pain was excruciating? And so I dealt with that. So 2 weeks after getting hired on, I had to like say, hey, whatever PTO I got, which I think was 2 weeks, I need to take that and then some, because I got to have emergency surgery. Like, I had been going to doctors like week after week after week. Finally, the last specialist I went to finally knew what was wrong because nobody could diagnose what was actually happening. They thought it was like drug seeking. It's like, oh, he's trying to get more Vicodin. It's like, I wouldn't take nothing past a vitamin if I ain't have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, so at that point, I'm like, man, something's got to give. Go into the surgery. My surgeon had to stop the surgery, bring in a second surgeon out of his surgery to help because of the complications and the stuff. And so it was in that surgery that I almost died, like
Mm,
literally, you know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like, and could
mm,
have. The weeks
mm,
prior to, it could have been any little thing. It literally is like a hairline sliver between not waking up and waking up. It was that
mm,
close. And so waking up, like I don't remember what my exact age was, but I was like 20 something. I'm thinking, I'm like mid 20s. I'm like, I'm ready to go for the gold. You know, this is great life. I'm young. I'm
Hmm.
thinking it's like you get a headache and you wake up from a headache or something, or you take medicine for it. You expect problem solved, moving on with life. But I woke up and it wasn't going to be like that. It's like actually it's going to be like a, kind of like a lifelong journey. It's something you're gonna have to always deal with.
Mm.
And so because of that, when I went back to work, I was not the same person.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
about the same things.
Yeah.
And so I knew I had to figure things out. I just didn't know how. And so the difference from being a temp to being a full time employee now was that certain external websites were not off limits to you.
Mm.
YouTube became one of those things. So I used that to my benefit. And then you also had like internet access and other stuff. And so I was like, okay, I got these tools and these resources that they say that we can use. So I didn't have to wait anymore
Mm.
until I was off of work, or I didn't have to wait until a break or a lunch. I could let this roll on their internet, on their dime, as long as I get my work done and stuff, which I can. And I could focus and stuff like that. So that's what took me into the transition and stuff like that, and the where I was at working at the same time prior to long time prior to quitting. This is like several years in the making. So I was doing that for a really long time, upwards of 30 hours out of my 40 hour something week. We're committed to not just like personal development books that give you a lot of stuff to have in the air,
Right.
but no way to actually put that into a laser and direct it someplace. I was able to find my coach on YouTube. I was able to find his content on YouTube. I was able to start implementing it and starting, you know what I'm saying? Enough to the point to where the amount of money that I was making in
Mm.
a 2 week time period at my job, I could make that with a client.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so before I would come to work, I've made whatever it is that I'm going to make and then some for the next 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, I'm finna do this. I don't care what the hell nobody else say. I'm finna do this. So that was that process. It was getting hired on, getting access externally to YouTube. So it's like, if I'm going to do this, I will bless them with the work that I'm doing
Hmm.
and letting the money that they pay me bless my endeavors. So whatever I learned, I brought into the company so I could keep excelling to make as much money as possible while I was there, until it started getting to a point that I was just like frustrated and kind of ready to move on.
Mm. Okay, there's so much to unpack, man. First of all, thank you for sharing. That side of the story, and I really appreciate that, because I don't think I've heard that portion, or that not version of it, because that's your story. But I just want to thank you for sharing that piece of it. So when you came out of that surgery, and your mindset just was like, you know what, hey, I could have been gone, and now I can't waste time. And I feel that every time that you talk, every time that you do a video, every time you do a live stream. I don't know if anybody else gets it, but I feel a massive underpinning of like, dude, stop wasting time. The hell's wrong with you? I mean, I know you probably got some other choice words that you probably want to use too, when you start to think about people and wasting time. I got this whole list of questions, but I don't care about them. I want to go down whatever road that we go down with tonight. So
Okay.
talk a little bit about that idea of like, I just don't have time right now, Steve, and how does that translate into what you do?
So it wasn't that, like, so waking up from surgery changed me completely. Like I said, when I came back to work, I wasn't as light and free. You know what I'm saying? And just free thinking in the sense that like eventuallys were, and one days were
Mm.
a part of the conversation when I would talk about my future. And so that disappeared instantly. It was a conversation I had with my sister. I was laying in the hospital bed. My dad was off, sitting there. Him and my mom would switch off. And it was really tough on them, honestly. So I'm grateful that they were able to be there for me throughout the whole thing. And so it was, my sister called. My dad passed over the phone. And like, she didn't think anything was wrong. It's just like, you gonna be fine. And then it's like, no, I had to explain to her, like, this was a big deal. And so we both kind of like broke in that moment, but it wasn't until I verbalized it, like I almost was dead. Like I
Mm.
never would have got a chance to speak to you past the last time I was at mom and daddy house. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
all of that came out in that conversation. And me and my sister have had struggles in our relationship, and we've rebuilt that over the years to be way more closer and stuff. And so even that situation made us that much more closer. So it wasn't like Like, and all I could think about was all the stuff that I had read in the books.
Mm,
What would be said at your funeral? They can
mm,
replace you in 2 to 3 weeks, if not sooner if they want to. So, you know what I'm saying? Like your value at a
mm,
company, I don't care what the company's values are, your individual value doesn't mean much. What could be said? Like I literally had that internal conversation. What could be said? I made a good peach cobbler for the company cookout.
mm.
I, would make people laugh just from telling and sharing stories of growing up, running from the belt and, stuff
Yeah.
like that. I had nothing to show for the years on earth that I had been here. I had nothing to show
Mm,
other than I was trying, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So when I came out of that, and now I'm coming back to work because I did one, like I said, I only had 2 weeks of
mhm,
PTO, which means I had to do another 2 weeks of no money because
mm.
I didn't have, it was like FMLA or whatever. And all like they, all it did was just account for the job. I had no money.
Right.
So like outside of my parents helping me and stuff, like that's what I had to take to make ends meet. And they barely was getting close and looking at each other. So um coming back to work, I came back to work even still earlier than I should have, uh, walking real slow because I still had staples and I still had stitches.
Mm,
And I had to come back to work. And so that made me approach working very differently because now I have a second chance.
mm,
And I hope nobody ever has to go through the I almost died, situation, because almost dying and could have dying are two different worlds apart. Somebody passed you, man, you almost could have hit somebody.
mm,
It's like, no, literally, I could have.
mm,
Like the possibility was like a 1% difference. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying?
mm,
Um, so because of that, it's not even like I live from the perspective of I can't afford to waste time.
mm,
It's simply that every day that I get after that day
mm,
is a day extra. So did I earn it? Did I can I
mm,
go to sleep and
mm,
know that I earned it? Like my hearty prayer every day is that if I died early as I could have and almost did, if I died early, how close would I have been to the fulfillment of my purpose for why I'm here? And not just the talking about it, but did I make even dent in the who I was supposed to be and become and do while I'm here? I was on an
mm,
interview on Monday and we had a conversation after the interview was over, and it's a great talk. And that's the thing, it's like, and it came up in the conversation, like, I don't have time to convince you about YouTube. I'm not here to convince you.
mhm,
If you can go, if the Lord will let you go to hell on you, like I sure as hell will give you choice in whether or not you want to do this or not. It's like make everything available and possible to you. I'm not in the convincing business.
mm.
And it's not even like I don't have the time, but I'm on a mission
Yeah.
to have full fulfillment of the why I'm here. And knowing that I'm finally operating in my purposeful work, I better get to work. You know what I'm saying? Like I get to do this every day. It's not that I have to. Like I'm honored to be blessed to do this. So if I only, you know what I'm saying? Because like, but the job is not part of the purposeful work.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
Right.
meaningful. So this, when I help people, like it was a pastor from like Africa or something. It's like, you helped me save my church in
Mm,
2020. You know what I'm saying? At the end of 2020, I'm getting this email and I'm like, whoa. So it's like I get to do this. If I'm gonna be blessed and honored enough to do this, I better not get to heaven and have to take an account for
mm.
my stuff. And it's like, you was slacking down there, right? Or like this ain't like you died not being who you were supposed to be. I can't handle that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I literally think about, and not in a morbid way, but I literally think about death every day, because death became a companion that I didn't want, but it definitely is one that I'm gonna respect because it was a real possibility.
Why, girl? Why are you trying to make me cry on my show?
It just is. You asked, I
I
answered.
know. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. And I know. I think we're kindred spirits in the context of like, Steve, you can ask me anything. And I already felt like I could. And so I just, once again, I appreciate that. Um, there was a movie or a documentary that I watched about the value of like the human body after you die and what they can extrapolate pretty much out of the body. And it was like less than like $100 or something like that. Like the actual value of like, organs that are shut down, all these different things. And I just thought about it
Hmm.
in that context where you talked about the value, the individual value. Just think about your body, right? What you have, what is the value of your body? But more importantly, as you're talking about it, what is the value that you are leaving behind? You know, the thing that I just wrote down, I take notes, and you said, did I earn it? Did I earn the time that I had today in order, and did I touch people with that time? And I think that that is so profound when I hear a lot of people that are talking about, well, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to do that. And that just doesn't appeal to me. That's not something I want to do. And I want to play a little Gary V video. Talks about the idea about this concept of I want to try to figure out what I need to do, and we'll talk a little bit about that.
So I have a lot of ideas in my head, and then I look into it, and it's already out there. I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but
there's no such thing as reinventing the wheel. Everything that's ever been big has already happened. Tesla didn't invent cars. Netflix didn't invent television. I didn't launch the first NFT project. First has nothing to do with you. You're looking for reasons to say no because you don't want to do it because you're worried about what people will think if it fails.
100%.
When when I came across that, I almost felt like it was almost the epitome of what you're doing and what you talk about. It's like, I got, stop trying to like, be something that you're not, or trying to figure this thing out. Just like you have been able to kind of create your own unique like lane. Have you thought about like what, your brand, your Diana Gladney brand, right? I know it's such a big word. I know you probably don't sit at night thinking, oh my gosh, the Diana Gladney brand. You just do, and you rock it out, and you got a plan and a purpose. But what is that legacy, if you will? You start talking about when you die, different things like that, that you want to leave behind. Because I think when I hear Gary Vee talk about, there's nothing new under the sun. Whatever it is, it's already been invented, has been invented. But now you're in this lane of kind of not reinventing anything, but you're really just trying to help people understand that they need to kind of find their purpose and their passion, and forget all the rest of all of that other nonsense. How have you been kind of able to cultivate kind of who you are and the things that you talk about and the content that you create?
Um, so like part of the answer I'll say is like, what do I want to leave behind? People doing work, like
Mm,
meaningful, purposeful work, taking daily progressive steps, active. You know what I'm saying? Like my legacy in my mind's eye vision after the fact is not a building with my name on it. It's not like there is like in my vision like a center that's being used for like some other aspect of myself that I want to do some work in. But it's not that even. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a piece of it. But the point of the building and like the facility
mm,
and the organization and any of the anythings is so that there can be daily progressive work being done every day pursuant to their purposeful and meaningful work. That is what to me legacy is. It's a forward moving motion. You know what
mm,
I'm saying? Not just like busy work, but purposeful work. I leave a blueprint from my lifestyle, and not just my lifestyle, but with the work that I've done, the things that I've taught. And that's why I honestly love video,
hmm
is that if anything ever happened, or my nieces and nephews that maybe don't get to know me so well, there is a library of content that serves for. That's why it's like even like having the vlog channel. It's like, well, what do you want to do with the vlog channel? Everybody think I got these big lofty goals for. It's like I don't care if you watch. It's for me. I just want it to live and
hmm
have life. You know what I'm saying? To document the process. That's all that's about.
hmm
But when it comes to like the things that I'm doing and the things that I'm teaching, like imagine Napoleon Hill
mm.
or Andrew Carnegie. They had a YouTube channel or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, are they like, and here's the crazy thing. Napoleon Hill actually does have videos. He
Yeah.
actually was creating content outside of his books and stuff. Like he taught,
Yes, he was.
and those audio recordings and stuff is available. So, you know what I'm saying? Like that, the fact that I can leave behind content that still generates new ideas post me turning to dust,
Mm.
I can still do meaningful work after I'm gone. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? That is like legacy for me because it doesn't die. It moves on. It's your vision moving forward ahead of you, even once the physical body ends, the ideation of it, everything, and the work that you're doing, your spirit, the essence of it continues to move forward.
Mm. You know, you talk a lot about books, and I can truly appreciate that. And I want to ask you, what's your favorite book, and why? And then where did this hunger for, it's like a two-part question. Where did this hunger for reading and just gaining that knowledge? Because I know I could talk about your coach here in a second, but I think a lot of us, we get so focused in on trying to create the content, but we don't feed ourselves enough
Mhm.
in order to have any output. Where did that hunger come from reading books, and then also what's your favorite book as well, and why?
Um, so I think it's shorter for me to answer my favorite book first and then going into the other part.
I
So
sure.
I'd say like my favorite book would be honestly, and I know people say clues, oh, the Bible's my favorite. Yeah, I know. But no, it's
Yeah.
like no, my favorite book is Think and Grow Rich. And not because of what's in Think and Grow Rich, but simply because it introduced me to Napoleon Hill.
Mm.
So, you know what I'm saying? So like growing up, my parents, you know, especially like my mom would listen to, they were in Amway and stuff, and they were like massive on personal development. So we would listen to that stuff growing up. You don't know what you're hearing, or the what's and the stuff like that, but you're hearing it anyway. So when I turned like 22, and my mentor at the time was saying like you need to get an iPod, fill it up with personal development that next day, because this was that evening. That next morning I went and found a kid selling one for like 60 or 80 bucks. I bought it, and I still have that iPod to this day, still full of that personal self-development. And I did like a 6-month stint. It was only supposed to be like 30 days, but 30 days turned into 60, and next thing I know, 60 days turned into 6 months. And that was a digital fast. No TV, no
Mm.
radio, no nothing. I don't care if I was sitting waiting for an oil change. Nothing. I had my journal, I had a calendar, and I had like physical pen, paper, calendar, journal, and I had that iPod. And it changed me because I started, one, not just listening to what other people say, but I had to accept the silence of what was going on in my own mind to know, are these ideas and thoughts my own?
Mm.
What do I want to keep and hold on to or not? Because at some point I thought personal development was fake. I mean, ain't no way these people thinking positive. Like I'm ready to slap somebody in the face right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
I know
like,
that's right.
you know, like this ain't real. And so I remember a day just like tearing all the, you know, quotes and all the stuff down. I'm like, man, this stuff ain't real. Cause every time I try to think something great, something bad happens or whatever, not knowing that your mind is like a parachute. And once it opens up and it balloons, it never goes back to its original form. And I was stretching and it hurt.
Mm.
And so when you expose what's there, it's like a book. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's like Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I think is that book
Mm.
attributed this, but describe a situation where it's like you're in a rundown kind of like apartment with
Mhm.
all this like beat up and Babbage furniture, and it's the chair that you sit on every time you get ready to eat. It's the bed you lay on every time you get ready to go to sleep. You cannot just say, I'm gonna put this stuff out back and just out the way, because when you come back in the house, you need some place to sit.
Mm.
And you're like, well, I'm gonna just get this chair for a minute just so I can sit down, and then it stays in for forever. You have to take the bad stuff out and you have to replace it with something, but completely get rid of it in a
Come on.
way that you never come back to it.
Come on.
Let it go off to the dumpster, a dumpster you never even
Mm.
got access to. And
Mm.
so that's how it was with personal development and stuff like that. So when you talk about the feeding yourself, that also meant stop being around. I literally stopped talking to my best friend. I called her and said, hey, we can't talk no more. Why,
Mm.
was something wrong? We didn't. Nope. I love you, love her to this day, and we're still great friends. But it's just like I need space and time away from everything and everybody.
Mm.
I can't talk to you because I can't talk about what we talk about, which is nothing.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I really need this, and I don't know how long it's gonna be, and I can't. And so all I did was go to conferences, all I did was study, and all I did was talk about vision and like all of that. So, you know, as a creator, you got to think outside of social.
Come on.
You are a being created to create. You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, like every fabric of the who you are is designed around it. So if you are always around like leeches and like they like, oh, I'm so glad to talk to you because man, you make me feel better. Well, you don't make me feel better.
Exactly.
You know, it's like just shoot. So or I can't, it's like, or who can you go to? Is something on TikTok went viral, but for men was that who do you go to and talk to and share your secrets with, or when you're on the ledge ready to jump physically, like in real life, who do you call?
Yes.
And who would you talk to? People like, we could do that. I thought we had to be the everything man. I thought we had to toughen up. I thought we couldn't cry. I thought we couldn't, you know what I'm saying? So they just let you know a lot of people suffer on the inside, look great on the outside. And I just didn't want to be hollow. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it's like, I'll take a lack of friends if I just got quality friends around me. And so now it's like moving forward, it's like, that's what I have. And it's always about access. That's how I always teach like my nieces and nephews and stuff like that. It's like, it's access. Everybody starts out at 100%.
Yeah.
But once somebody does something, you get less access. Now you're at 80%. I don't answer every phone call. I don't reply to every text. I'll come around to it eventually. You know, something else, 60%. Past 60%, that phone call I just ain't get answered. Because at that point, this is now a leech. So that's where, you know what I'm saying, like the personal development stuff and like literally applying that stuff in real life.
You know what? You know I was gonna bring it out. You know I had to bring
Let them
it out.
use you. Just let
You know I had to bring it out because I want to go back to this last point because I think a lot of people will probably want that one too. Access, right? Because I think a lot of people feel important when we have more people wanting to access us and wanting to kind of know a little bit more from us about X, Y, and Z, and for yourself included, right? And I know that when I met you, I was like, okay, she about to blow up. Let me hurry up and connect with her before she don't got time for me anymore. Which I'm glad you made time for me today. But how do you what can you tell people with, or tell people to help them with like understanding like how to deny access, how to not really not just cut people off, because sometimes that's what you got to do, right? But I think that access piece is so important because we don't have time, right? We don't got time for all that nonsense. So talk a little bit about that, please.
So I'm a believer, right? I believe in Christ. I'm a believer. Everybody like to go off of the forget, and I question that salvation for myself personally at times, because I'm like, I'm like the ear slicing saint. I'm with homeboy in the garden, like let's slice her ear off or something, because they finna take our savior. Like we need to do something. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't always the right approach.
That's right.
However, my thing is that, but I also learned though, in tempering, that forgiveness does not equal restoration. So you can and should forgive even the most heinous of things, because once it gets really horrendous, it's really for you way more than it is for the other person. And we hear that, but that's a hard pill to swallow. It's even harder to execute. And there are times where you'll keep people around you because of comfort. And it got to the point, I can't even remember exactly when. I was working at another bank though. And I remember that like it was really about learning about comfort zones. And it was like, I need to be in a constant state of perpetually searching for discomfort. So that you can always be like, I hate the stuff like people, I'm cleaning up my friends list. You got 2 people that you've been ain't liked, and you was just waiting for the new year so you could do, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and like people don't have as much drama as they want to pretend to. And most of it, they keep it around themselves. So it's about knowing, like when a situation arises, I judge every person on their own merit, because the who somebody else experienced, and they say, oh, don't mess with that person, they just blah, 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 blah. Okay, you also kind of like got to discern that kind of a person. Like what's the vibe they giving off? Do it feel like something's right? Because your feelings in that sense of like the vibe, somebody, that energy is real. If you put your hand in
mhm.
front of your mouth and say your name 3 times, you feel something, not because of the wind coming out of you, because it's a legit energy coming out of your being. So it's real. So in that sense, like if you get a vibe off somebody, it's just like, listen, that includes dating too.
Mm,
So like say forgiveness doesn't equal restoration. So when you're trying to figure out access, you're judging everyone on their own merit. And just because you forgive them does not mean they get the same access. I cut off a very close family member that I love dearly because it's like at the point to where that access becomes abuse. Who's
mm,
allowing the abuse?
mm,
You.
mm.
It's your fault. If everybody like to blame somebody, take accountability for what's happening.
Yeah.
When somebody, well, they made me feel, you are in control of your own emotions.
Mm,
Can't nobody make you feel nothing. You can allow some, because if that's the case, I can drive you all day
exactly.
to whatever and however I want you to feel. And you're at the mercy of me because you allow it. And so when you get into the access situation of like, and this is include work too.
Hmm,
It
hmm.
wasn't nothing but the Lord keeping me with a job and not getting fired before I quit.
Right.
Because my thing was like, oh, my supervisor call, say, oh, blowing up my phone. Bro, right back over, go to sleep. Come in when I'm so, hey, we were calling you. We was trying to get somebody to come in. This
Yeah.
sound like a personal problem. Well, you're not being a good team. Whose team is on my check?
Mm,
You know, it's like, and literally, so it's not just the discomfort, searching for discomfort, but knowing how to navigate that as well. And so, and being not just like humble, like hashtag humble,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
being having humility and being authentic, and all these buzzwords now,
Mm,
where people lose sight of what the original root word of these things mean. You know what I'm saying? Like,
agreed.
so it's about also having a good mentor and mentors in your life to check you when you're at your best, to
Mm,
keep things kind of at your best or whatever. And so, you know what I'm saying? Like listening, not just when it's bad, but listening when it's good,
yeah.
so that you can be guided and shepherded along, like, no, don't go over here, do this, or I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? So listen, it's a lot of that mentorship. You're built to do community with other people. So learning that too.
Agreed. And you talk a lot about your coach who actually told you to do video,
Mhm.
and you were like, "Dude, I'm not doing that." Like, no. Like, I don't.
You got the wrong one.
Who you talking to? Who you talking?
Okay.
You talking to James Hicks or Jillian? Like, they
Listen,
can do that, but me, as for me in my house,
we don't.
I'm gonna do
We
a
don't. Yeah,
blog.
we don't do. We don't. Right.
I'm gonna do a
Podcast,
blog.
like, oh, podcast don't need a face. Give me the microphone.
Exactly.
Okay.
So how did he convince you, if you will? Because you talk about the mentor it's having an effect on us all. What did he say? What did he do to kind of like you were like, okay, fine, I'm gonna try it out.
Absolutely nothing.
Wow.
So this is this is the exchange. One, like a second coaching call or something. Had been doing personal development for some years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really looking for the thing that's going to launch my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going to work? What am I like? What's the purposeful work? What should I be doing? Where's my direction? So when he told me, because I had paid more money than I had ever paid for like
Mm,
any coach, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have it, but I made it work.
mm,
So when he said, I want you to do a video, like you got to go, you need to do a video today.
yeah.
So he said it. I thought all the things that you said, like, Stu, don't notice them same 7 Facebook photos been recycled, okay, since they you know what I'm saying, let Tom, what was it,
Tom
Tom from
from
MySpace
MySpace.
come over. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same 7 photos.
Where is Tom anyway?
Listen,
Anyway.
still looking back. So I'm like, man, so in my inside, this is all internal. I've never peeped a word. It's like, man, this dude tripping. Like, what? Like, all of these things. And this comes like a lightning bolt across the front of my mind was when I read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich,
Mm,
where he talks about the opportunity. And you also can't just stop at Think and Grow Rich. You got to go into the Law of Success in 16 lessons, because that's the
mhm.
real Think and Grow Rich. Officially, Think and Grow Rich, the title is the watered down, condensed version. So The law of success is what Think and Grow Rich was supposed to be. And then if you go into Outwitting the Devil, you really go deeper in a whole other way that a lot of people don't like to go with Napoleon Hill, but I go there.
That's all right.
And so in his conversations and him exposing and sharing what that moment was when Andrew Carnegie told him, like, you ain't finna make no money. You're gonna do this for the next 20 years of your life. Like, nothing, I'm not finna pay you nothing. I will, however, introduce you to the most successful men in the world, and you'll study them for the next 20 years. You write a book of it. You'll put together the manual for success. Same kind of dialogue. It was crazy how like in alignment it was. But he had to convince me. He didn't say a word. He just stopped. He stopped talking like, I want you to do a video today. So like in like milliseconds, all of this is happening on the inside. And I thought of that story where he's thinking the same thing. Man, I got a wife. We trying to have a family. Like, God, dog, like I'm be doing this for what? What my wife gonna, like all of these things. And he said, yes, Mr. Carnegie, you can count on me.
Yes.
I will do it and you can count on me. And so that's all I thought of. And then in the next second, I was like, I'm going to do it today. He was shocked because that next words out of his mouth was like, you gonna do it? You gonna do it?
Like, really?
Right.
Like, unless you go do it.
Right. Okay. He's like, I think he was expecting the rebuttal because he's like, you gonna do a video? I'm like, I'm gonna do a video today. He's like, you gonna do a video? I'm gonna do a video today. He's like, all right then, go do the video. In the coaching, I'm like, the hell I just agreed to.
There you go.
Because it wasn't just a video. It was do the first video today, but it was commit to 30 videos over like a 60-day period or something. Them 30 videos took me like 6 months. But I did do that first video that day, but he didn't have to say or convince me. He had to, it was just simply, I gave in because I had this singular thought. I did not hire this man for me to remain the same. My way, my best level of thinking has gotten me to today, and I don't like it.
Come on.
So it didn't have nothing to do with me. Like it was no way to like be comfortable and stay you. No, like apparently a lot needs to change for a lot to change. You know, a lot in me needs to change for a lot in me to change. So that's all it was. He had to convince me. He didn't say nothing other than he issued that statement. I want you to do a video today. And I said, I'm going to do a video today.
And you did it. And you did it. And here we are.
And here we are.
Here we are. One of the things that I talk a lot about imposter syndrome. And I know one of the things you talk about it, but not in the context of like, oh my gosh, you have imposter syndrome type of deal. Because there's a lot of people out there that may be quote unquote dealing with imposter syndrome. And I love your perspective on it. And I wanted you to share that a little bit because I think it kind of all just kind of ebbs and flows into everything that we've been talking about a little bit.
So for those that maybe don't know, it's like the whole imposter syndrome thing around that is defined more or less as you feel as if you're going to be found out. Like you're doing this thing and people are really going to find out that you aren't who you say you are. There's like you're a fraud kind of a thing. Unless you really being skimpy and like sketchy with the stuff that you're doing, what's to find out about? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's to find out about? And I get that there are limiting beliefs and there are doubts, but I feel like so many people use that category, that term, that phrasing and terminology just as a way to self-diagnose and get into the Me Too club of, you know what I'm saying? If everybody limping in my foot and they foot hurt, they big toe, you start limping too. Yeah, me too. We ain't got to race. We ain't got to do the race if we ain't got, oh yeah, my foot hurt too.
Yeah.
And so it's an easy cover up for a lot of people instead of just saying like, I'm afraid of what my coworker's going to think. You ain't got no imposter syndrome. You ain't worried about being found out. but you are concerned with maybe this is going to impact your job. And do you have to make a decision? Are you ready to make that decision
Come on.
yet? And the answer may be no. So it's literally like at that point, is you trying to hide or shield yourself from having to address the real issue. Now, are there times where you will think, I am not good enough to be in this spot, or I am not qualified enough to discuss on this thing? But like I said earlier, we all called for a purpose. Everybody has a reason for why they are here. And if it is a specific group of people that you are being called to direct and to who you're guided and supposed to shepherd in your life, you know what I'm saying? Then they're waiting for you. They are even here with ears tuned only to your frequency. So it don't even matter that there's bigger, more successful fill in the blanks. You have not presented and shown up yet. Same thing with your spouse. It didn't matter how many other people you dated. It wasn't until they showed up and you say, that's mine. I want that for forever. You know what I'm saying? Kind of a thing. And nobody else like matters anymore. And so it's that concept, I feel like, when it comes to the imposter syndrome, too many people pick up that disease, if you will, just so they don't have to really deal with what they're really, really, truly concerned about. And so like the podcast episode that I did about it just really
it was a good one.
was kind of like what I like to call, and even stuff that I do for myself, which is if I'm thinking something, if I'm feeling something, I got to dispel the devil. Let's fact check. Are you really unqualified? And this honestly is a situation where you should say, to your benefit, I cannot do this. And it's not about trying to pretend humble or like, I really, truly cannot help you with this. And it's literally like that. You're being self-aware at that point. Or is it you're afraid of stretching that parachute?
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like I had the honor of speaking at Social Media Marketing World this year. I thought about that in like 2016.
Yeah.
Like one day I'm gonna be on that stage, and then so from 2019 to 2022 is a real short time frame from quit job and like full time going to what I'm doing to speaking on stage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So short time frame. However, what you called to do is what you called to do. And you ain't got to worry about nobody else doing what you do or copying off of you, because anywhere that there is a copy, one of you is irrelevant. Because one is an original. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about being authentic, there's an authentication process, even when it comes to artifacts. So if there is somebody being a copy, one of you is irrelevant. And here's the kicker. They can't do nothing but post after you anyway.
Come on.
Because they're waiting on you for the originality. And at some point, and it's crazy because over these last 5 years, from literally starting video day one to now, is there were leaders in the industry who I don't even remember their name, who was big time back then, disappeared. So when somebody's faking, they can't do it for forever.
They can't, man. They can't.
You know, or it's not what they called to do, or it's a distraction for a time, or maybe it's just a season of what they do. They can't do it for forever. But you who have been really engineered for a specific thing, what are you waiting on? You hate everything else around life. You know what I'm saying? Usually, most of the time, anyway, you don't like your job. You don't like where you live. You don't like where you stay. You don't like your car. You don't like your house. You don't like this. You don't like how much time you get with your kids or how much time you don't. You don't like where they go to school. You don't like all these things, but you won't do the one thing that's going to unlock for you. That's why I was like, I don't care what my coworkers thought. I didn't care what my boss thought. I didn't care what nothing. I didn't care if somebody was watching another camera thing or whatever. It's like, do I look like I give two rats asses about what any of you people think? None of what you do has any imprint on life. Not that they're bad people, but it's just, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people that's another thing. You become the butt of jokes. That happened at work.
take it.
I
It is
ain't
what it
missing no
is.
sleep.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's sometimes you just have to get, so the imposter syndrome stuff is real, because that's when you're getting close to beginning to address sometimes the real ugly
Come
stuff on
on.
the inside, and you just don't want to, but you need to.
That is 100% what I think about imposter syndrome, is in the context of like you're about to embark on something that you probably haven't ever done before, and there is going to be some angst. And I think instead of you going in and going to that group think mindset of around, oh my gosh, well, Diana stubbed her toe and it didn't work for Diana, well, it's not going to work for me, and well, so and so got found out, I may get found out. Like, stop thinking about it in that context. You are really about to embark on something that you haven't done before. And before you to do that, you have to deal with yourself. You have to deal with your stuff, and this overcoming whatever it could be, something the mama said, daddy said, or whoever said it. And then now, once you're able to get past that, now you're about to do something that is amazing. And when I try to couch it like that with clients, they have a different perspective on this whole idea of around imposter syndrome, and not this woe is me type of mentality, because I think that doesn't do anything for anybody, for you to just fall in line and think that it's not going to be successful just because so and so wasn't successful. That's just wrong thinking. That's just stinking
Yep.
thinking, man. Stinking thinking.
Yeah.
I got two more things I want to cover. I know I'm going to be thankful for your time. Guys and gals, if you haven't checked out her podcast, you need to. It is simply amazing. It is on my list. It's one of my ones that I don't miss on a weekly basis. It's on my list, and I listen to it all. And I wanted to talk about, just real quick, because I want to get into that execution little clip that I showed you too. But I wanted to get into your episode around the slap heard around the world with 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 Will Smith and Chris Rock. And I got to tell you guys, first of all, we're gonna talk a tad about it, but you got to go back and listen to the entire episode. Go back and listen to the entire episode. But one of the things, and this is not a spoiler alert because the content, everything is amazing. But one of the things that you talked about was around something that Denzel had said, and I think everybody heard it already, so we're not spoiling anything. Around what Denzel said to Will Smith, and then also how you kind of translated what he said. If you wanted, I'm gonna tee it up for you, and what he said, how you translate that into being a content creator, and when we're about to do something big, obstacles and different things may come about. If you can talk a little bit about that part of that episode for me, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So the thing that Denzel said was that, paraphrasing, is that at your greatest moment is when the devil comes for you.
Mm.
Same thing that I've said, that my coaches have said to me, I've said to my friends and stuff. The devil don't bother nobody that ain't doing nothing.
Mm.
So it's like at your greatest moment, at your highest moment, the devil comes for you.
Mm.
And it don't mean a person, but they can come sometimes in a situation presented by a person. And so the reason why I wanted to talk about that is because I get a lot of those first timer questions, like especially like on Instagram in the DMs. And people are like, how can I make YouTube videos without showing my face? What you afraid of? You
Mm.
wear your face every day?
Mm.
Like, oh man, it's just a lot. What you really afraid of? You know what I'm saying? Man, people be ruthless. I see them comments on other videos and stuff. Yeah. They're like, but I mean, like, so, especially like being, because there's not a whole lot of us, for one, Black female
Mm-hmm.
creators,
Mm-hmm.
like just Black women in the tech and camera space. It's like predominantly like 30, 40-ish year old white men is what this industry space is, like, especially like on YouTube or whatever. Okay, well, it's only a few of us. Me, Halise, Tech Me Out, maybe a few others I'm not aware of, but it ain't no whole bunch of us. You know what I'm saying? So people are like, man, ain't you afraid? Like, people, what if somebody called you the N-word? It happens.
Happens. Yes.
What if somebody say something on the stream? So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if there was no such thing as opposition, everybody become Christian because they make everything instantly easier, but it don't.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, I think it'd make it harder because you can't just fly off and slap somebody in the mouth when the other kind of spirit moves you to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so because that's kind of my go-to, I'm not gonna hold you. I honestly I'd be ready for it. And God bless, Heather Torres over at Think Media because Heather Heather's a good friend. I love her like a sister. And in those mentoring moments when we having conversation, I be telling like I gotta channel my inner Heather because the inner Diana ready to fly off. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not my go-to. Or I just flat out disagree on some things. Like people like, well, just ignore them. Don't say nothing. No, because sometimes people need to see you about that life.
They need to check. They need to be checked.
Hey, don't let the smooth taste fool you.
Come on.
So, but at times though, that's one thing on my channel, or for me to and try to be tastefully somewhat whatever. But just to let people know, you ain't finna come in my house and just think you gonna say or do whatever. Because I take a bat to your forehead. It's my house. So on my channel, I'm also curating the experience for my audience. That riles other people up. Y'all don't need to worry about that. I got it. So it's about like having that rhino skin going through the jungle. Yeah. Kind of a thing. So, okay, that's fine. You got rhino skin. That don't mean everybody else around you do. So I'm not just shielding for myself. And sometimes stuff do cut deep. But I'm also shielding for the community. If you're shepherding and guiding, like my mentor Ray Edwards talks about in his pastor framework, it's about, and that's most people get twisted because he talks about copywriting.
Just pick this
copywriting
up.
Is come on, writing the words that sell. But this is also saying the words that sell, and it's not like just trying to sell, but it's about the words that help lead people to a decision. Is this right for them or not? Right? So in that way, you're shepherding and you're guiding people. A shepherd take one for the flock. You know what I'm saying? They going out there to make sure y'all can stay asleep and never knew something was coming at you in the middle of the night. So before anything ticks the audience off, I'm there to shepherd and guide and protect. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to like that situation, like with the slap kind of a thing, that stuff happens all the time. Like I talked about being on the stage at social media. Mark, somebody could have jumped up and said something. You want to come a little closer?
What you gonna do?
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've had those rare occasions, unfortunately, where it goes there. Not in like talking and talks and stuff and trainings, but way before when I'm younger, 19, 18, you think you're invincible. And you feel like it.
Diana Gladney throwing hands.
Listen, let him use you. Okay? I'm trying to let you gonna see Jesus one way or the other. One way or the other.
Maybe today if you keep talking.
I'm just saying, but so from those earlier days and stuff, and thinking like that is still a possibility if you're not careful. Don't be thinking you're so wise you can't lose a moment in wisdom. And so that really meant something to me when that situation happened, because that stuff really do happen. And you do have to figure out in the moment how you're going to figure it out. But you don't think about it in the moment. You think about it way before. What do I do if? And so it's knowing how to handle those situations, being a content creator. If you're going to be somebody in your industry, if you're going to start, because I was one of the few Black women in tech to stand on that stage. Everybody don't get that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? It's not like everybody get to be up there. They don't. It's not available to everyone. So to get the badge with speaker on it for social media work, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
So I'm not just there for me, but I'm also understanding I'm walking a path for those that follow behind me. So it's knowing that when your flesh wants to react, you have to pre-think situations like that and know what you're going to do ahead of time. And so that's the thing. It's something my best friend's husband talks a lot about is that even in the highest moments of frustration and anger, do not let somebody take you out of character
Mm.
or willingly have you hand over an opportunity that you work too hard to get. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, because again, on those stages, in those situations, some people show up just because, whatever. And Gary Vee talk about having empathy. I ain't got no empathy for you. I ain't there yet. But I'm a mind control because God has done too much for me in my life and brought me too far. And there's too many other people, not just that's watching, but that's implementing, actually have like what happens then if not just your image, not just your career, but your life's works takes a hit because of this one moment. And to be honest, when you have a darker skin tone, you got a darker hue, you can't afford it because it takes too much already to get there. And so that's where like wanting to have that conversation on the podcast came from, because it takes too much work.
Come on, man.
To let a singular situation where somebody else could get away with and it not be that big of a deal, and you can't afford to. So that's why I was like, it's a lesson for all of us. We've been doing great for years.
Yeah, man.
I've never seen somebody with a work ethic, a drive, and an actual documented record of like his behavior.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so you think he got it all together and you know what I'm saying? Like he got such great control or something, but everybody can pop. We all human. And so it's just knowing where are my buttons and how do I protect myself from saying to somebody, go and push it if you bad. I'm not doing that. It may kill you on the inside in the moment to just deal with it and knowing how to bounce back. So it's stuff like live streaming helps that because stuff like that happens on the fly. So it's just about knowing if you get in this content game, whoever you are, wherever you are, it don't matter. People gonna say stuff and you got to know for the stages that's set for you, don't piss on it.
Whew. All right. So I'm a big fan of during this whole pandemic, we had D-Nice, and right, he would be on IG and he played music, and one of the things he would often say when a song came on, and he would say, "Let it breathe." Like I'm gonna let this one breathe. I'm gonna let this one breathe. I got this last clip that I wanted to play. I wanted to say this one to the end. And it's probably about 45 seconds. And I want to let this one breathe, not just because Diana's heard it, but this is going to be for you in the audience. And then I want to talk about it because you have to listen to this thing until the very end. You can look at it on the replay if you want to as well. But I'm going to tell you right now, this right here is going to blow your mind. And I don't say anything for effect. I truly don't. So you got to take a listen to this.
You made a decision to press forward, but the result of it is removed from you.
I'm going to rewind it real back.
Whether or not it's a
I'm going to go back. There we go.
You made a decision to press forward, but the result of it is removed from you. You're doing the things, whether or not it's a success or failure is yet to be seen, but you're moving full force 100%. So you're still doing it. It's just like when we all at some point went to go take a driver's test. And for those that didn't pass on the first test, didn't mean you didn't go take the driver's test. The result is a whole other thing. And then you went back again and you did it again. It's like you do, and then you do again. And then you do again, and you keep doing. So it's just like that whole learn and do. I was so serious when I had said that initially, like on the Helpcast, where that came from. Go learn something and then go do something. Execution should be your best friend the rest of your life.
Wow. Replay.
All right. If you didn't hear that, one
serious when I had said that initially, like on the Helpcast, where that came from. Go learn something and then go do something. Execution should be your best friend the rest of your life.
Wow. Replay.
I gotta play all of them. I gotta play all of them. This is what I feel like doing right here.
Run.
Execution should be your best friend for the rest of your life. That's a t-shirt. I already gave it to Cynthia. Who's Sylvia? I already gave it to
Sylvia
Sylvia.
pressing
I
so.
already gave it
You
to
know
him.
they're gonna be on it. Available for you in the next 24 hours.
Damn Skippy. Oh man, I don't even know where to go with that. I mean, when I was looking for clips and different things like that, I had to watch that probably at least 10 times, maybe 12. And I was just like, and I was sitting back because as a person who's been in leadership for a long, long time, I've never thought about execution in that context of like, dude, that needs to be your ace boom cool, right? That needs to be that partner that you're gonna talk to and that you're gonna live with constantly and consistently. When you drop that, because I know you just be coming off the top of the dome, man. Because
Yeah.
you got it like that. But do you when you said that, and we probably hopefully got tons of comments and people were like, oh my gosh, what did you mean when you said execution should be your best friend? I think we kind of get it internally, but I wanted to know from the author's mouth your thought process and when you said that.
Because it was something that Miles Monroe said in a training that he did, where it was he was talking about him traveling and doing all these things that he never did before and always wanted to do. And for some reason, someplace he went to a graveyard, and it's like you see like 1870 or something, like people died when they was born and blah 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 and all this stuff, and everybody always talks about the dash and the life is in the in between in the dash, and it's like, yeah, but it was a different thought process and tone when he went to this old graveyard for whatever reason, which is that he said it's like basically like the Holy Spirit told him like most of these people died unfinished. He's like, well, what does that mean? He's like, most of these people didn't do nothing. They died with the gifts inside of them. These people stole what the world was supposed to have from them. What they were supposed to birth here, they died with it. So most of these people got their gifts and talents in the grave. And he said it shook him so bad, he went back to his hotel and he just sat there and he just thought on it for a long time. And so the whole concept around the learn and do, and the statement that I made, which is that execution should become your best friend for the rest of your life, is because most people will learn. I used to be this way. Learn. Oh, I need to read another book. Oh, learn. I need to go to another conference. No, I turned down a coaching opportunity with the organization because it's like, yeah, you want to talk about doing this thing? So I'm writing this book on content creation. And he's like, you want to talk about the book? I'm like, no, not yet. Because I'm still executing on what you wrote in the book. I'm not there yet because I haven't done on what you said do already. I'm in the process of doing it. I'm like halfway done, but I'm like, yeah, no, until I'm like, so execution is like people talk about like planting seeds. Cultivation of the land was part of the command.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Come on.
So when you cultivate, that was Adam's job, cultivate. He wasn't just supposed to go and like chill, work. Like even in the garden, he had a job to do.
Yeah.
So as human beings, our job is around cultivation, your skills, gifts, and your talents. A lot of people love to discover what they are. They love to uncover really, truly what they are, what their purpose is in life. Because it's not hidden from you, just need to uncover what it is. The other thing is that people love to learn about the things that you should do when you're executing, and everybody gets to the gate to race. At NASCAR, for example, they'll line up, buy all the gear, suit up, brand new car, brand new tires. You can't tell them nothing. Gas tank swole, and they say, go. And you like, I ain't know we was racing today. So because of that, that's the thing. A lot of people stop short at the execution. They die with everything in them. And so part of all the stuff that I talked about earlier in the show around the why I'm so aggressive about purposeful work just for myself, is because I don't want to be one of those people that it can be said I left something in myself and I didn't execute. And a lot of people die like that. I just refuse to. So if somebody's asking me something, and it's like execution is usually most of what people need to do, to the point to where, like say you do, and you do it, you do again, and you do again, and you keep doing it. At some point, something has to happen. Devil don't bother nobody that ain't doing nothing. Don't get in the way. All distractions are equal. That includes people. That includes your time sucks. That includes the ones that you are distracting yourself from. And sometimes things presented as opportunities. So for some people, YouTube is a distraction. You shouldn't be here. You're supposed to be doing something else that you know you're supposed to be doing, but you want to play the content creation game. No. And you know what doing exposes? That you shouldn't be doing. You ain't full of all of these ideas and stuff. Like I'm multi-passionate. No, you're not. You bottled up. You're creatively constipated.
Yeah, I love it.
If you went and did something, you'd find out that if you spent like a weekend every week at doing this one particular thing, like maybe you'll find out, you know what? I actually want to do that more. Like everything else don't matter. Like it's not enough. Or you find out, the weekend, maybe we could do once a month. I ain't that concerned with it, you know? So you just bottled up, and inside everything looks equal. On the outside, when you do, then you see like, not just like the fruits of your work or something like that, but you see what you're really passionate about, and then you see clear direction from there.
Creatively constipated. Now that was a podcast episode, if I'm not mistaken. I remember that one. It was about, because that one actually, I think I listened to that one 3 times. I want to say it was early last year. You talked about being you constipated, you know, your creativity. So everybody make sure you go back and listen to that one too. Listen to all of them. But like I said, I am a faithful listener. But that creative constipation episode was like, dang, girl, why are you speaking to me? Like, why you all up in my Kool-Aid, man? Stop get out of my Kool-Aid. Oh, I've already gone over my time. I try to go an hour. And this the, you know, everybody have already seen the ticker where they can find you at. Diana Gladney, go to YouTube, and here's her website as well, that you guys can go and connect with her as well too. And I gotta say, your VA, your team was amazing, kind of throughout this process, making sure that you know, you were well taken care of to be on Podcasters Live, and make sure they got all the information. So you talk a lot about your team and how you've been kind of growing your team. I just want to, you know, make sure you give them the kudos, let them know that they did an amazing job. And I felt like, you know, I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like I got to make sure I got all this stuff together. Hey, Steve, I'm just following up with so-and-so, and I just want to make sure we get, you know, you got Diana, I'm like, on next week. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about. So just don't give them a raise just yet. I don't know if they deserve it yet.
Hey man, the organization can only move at the speed of the leader. So I'm glad to know they putting in work, because I think that's really important. A lot of that has been about being very meticulous in that. And I literally get that comment when it's either after the show or somewhere towards the end, like here, like during the show, people are like, man, like the process to get you on the show, it's not like it's hard, but it's making sure that when I come, I can give everything that I can give with 100%. Full clarity of who your target audience, what their pain points are, even like specific examples and stuff like that. Not trying to, you know, be so prepared in that sense, but to know how can I make sure that when somebody listens to, I don't care if it was somebody day one on YouTube, it's like, we'll still book the show so that I can give for whoever's coming. Because if you're doing the work, allow me to help. And if I could throw a little fertilizer on there, I'll go for it.
Well, I want to thank you so much. You got to come back, and it's on tape right now, and it's on video. So You know, if
Okay, is it
you,
right?
you know what I'm saying? I said it on purpose.
I
So if you don't
will.
come
I will.
back, there's an issue.
I will. I will be here.
because there was a lot of questions that I wanted to ask, but for me, at the end of the day, I was like, man, I got Diana Gladney. What I'm talking about here. We go figure. We go rock this thing out. And I know it was a value add for everybody that listened tonight. The comments were just blowing up, and I typically do a better job with recognizing a lot of people in the comments. And I apologize because maybe I do, maybe I don't, because the stuff was just so good. And we could have gone probably another hour and a half if I kind of went through all the comments and put the stuff up on there. I really do a better job of that. But all of you who are in the comments, thank you so much. I try to make sure I put your stuff up there as well too. James Hicks, I'm banning you. You are banned. You know, yeah. Well, he always want to talk about he off to the gym. Like, I mean, he every episode I do. Yeah, that was great episode, man. I'm about to go to the gym. Shut up.
Just go. Hey, man, and we on our way to Popeyes. All right, make sure they got the strawberry jelly ready. You know, we both on our way somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I'm on my way to the gym. Get up under this squat rack. You know what I'm saying, man? Whatever, dude. I just want to thank you once again for being on Podcasters Live. If you want to stay behind the green screen or whatever you want to call it, just give me a second. I'm gonna close this out.
For sure.
All right. Woo-wee. Oh my goodness, people. My, oh my. Execution should be your lifelong best friend. Have you earned your day? Oh my gosh, I got so many things here that I wrote down. Things from Napoleon Hill. If you have caught this and you're catching the tail end of this, you got to go back and listen to every single minute of this episode. One of the things that we want to do at Podcasters Live is provide you with content and people and experts that will help you understand a little bit more about who you are, because the content that you put out there is nothing but an outcropping of who you are, period. It's nothing more, nothing less, right? We talked a little bit about that idea about imposter syndrome or somebody out there kind of imitating you. The fact is that you're an original. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And same thing as your content that you put out there. I hope you were able to glean. I won't say I hope. I know you were able to glean some things that you can take with you as you start to prepare for your content. One of the things we do at Podcasters Live, we talk a lot about coaching, whether it's your individual or as a group. We talk a lot about the idea of understanding who you are, so that way you can say no to some of that other stuff and you can produce the show and content that you want. You can contact us, of course, at podcasterslive.com. I am Steve Worthy, your host. I want to thank you for everything that you guys do for us at Podcasters Live. The comments, purchases, all of that stuff, all of our gear and everything like that. You guys have a great night, and God bless.